And give it a few seconds for it to pop up. All right. All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be today. Thank you all for hanging out with us at the Power Addicts September 2020 Hangout. This is going to be just full of great information this month. Um, we have the Black Minds Matter Hackathon winners, as well as the leadership. And we also have Krishna this month that's going to come and show us and talk, well, actually talk to us, possibly show us some things dealing with InfoPath and Power Apps. And it's a great session because a lot of us who segued into Power Apps, it was due to the threat of InfoPath going away. So this is going to be really interesting to hear. But before we go ahead and get started into our sessions, the one thing that we usually do, and Vivek here's also with us to help facilitate, but we talk about our new MVPs. So Vivek, I know we have a lot this month, and it was a lot of surprise names that you like. I thought you was the MVP already.
Yeah.
So what names you got?
Yep. I guess I'll try to recall, but I know Tricia is here, so congratulations, Tricia, for being an MVP. Yeah, congratulations. And I know there's Michelle Wong. There's I'm sorry, I'm running out of names.
Oh, there's Matthew,
Matthew. Yep. Matthew Devaney.
um,
Allison.
Allison,
Allison, yeah.
you,
So
Dad,
yeah. Yep.
Michelle Wong.
Yep. So I wish we could. I think we should be more good at documenting this. But yeah, congratulations to all these people. I know these people have been doing amazing things already, and it's always surprising that why weren't they MVPs already? Like we always think that they're already MVPs. So, but yeah, congratulations, and we look forward to kind of having you more on these calls.
Most definitely. Um, to kind of segue on that, like Vivek, I think that so many people do so much great work in the community, and we just think they're already MVP. So if anyone knows of anyone that's doing great work and we think they're MVP, because the nomination is a little bit different, let us know. And we can help nominate those people to become MVPs. So just let us know. We got Sancho just speaking of MVP, Sancho just joined the joined the call. All right. So with that being said, let's kind of get into our agenda. Our first guest today will be the hackathon winners, which and leadership, which is Shania and Trisha and Chris, and Hamithika and Nick. And Simon was around here somewhere. I saw the SO pop up, like popped up like Superman. But if you guys can, you guys have the floor, and thank you guys for joining us this morning or afternoon for me.
Okay, so how do you want to do this? So I guess what I'll do is I'll start. I'll basically introduce the program and I'll basically give some background. And then I'll hand over to, I think you want to hear more about how the hackathon, was set up. So I'll hand over to Chris, who can talk about how the hackathon, like how he sets up the hackathon and etc. Then we'll hand over to the winning team and they can take it from there. Shall we?
Fair enough.
I'm going to share my screen, and I have a presentation that I use just to explain, because I have been asked this a few times, how did this come about, what exactly is the school, etc. So I have this this slide deck that I use to kind of just walk people through my journey and how it came to be. So can you see my screen? Just let me know.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, great. Okay, so basically the Power Platform School ran throughout the month of August. And the goals of the Power Platform School and how it came to be. So just like how, the Power Platform Happy Hour came about during just a session amongst friends talking, the Power Platform School actually originated at what we like to call the Badger, which is a weekly group that meet up. Everybody's welcome. But we were talking about what actually happened in the US, George Floyd, and the impact towards the Black community. But then it went on further, talking about how could we actually make a difference and what could we do. It then highlighted to me, actually, I am one of a few. I'm a minority within IT as well. And if we actually look at this in terms of awareness, Black people are really underrepresented in tech just in general, making up a total of 3%. Now, this is actually from not the Nigel Frank salary review, but British Computer Society, and this is actually within Britain. Okay, so 3% of IT professionals in the UK are Black, which is actually a very poor figure. So what we did was, first of all, we had a quiz. I'm not sure if you all heard about the quiz that we did, which is the Microsoft Global 365 Microsoft 365 pub quiz, right? That we did to raise funds for charities that were aligned to Black Lives Matter. So in the UK, we chose Black Minds Matter because we liked their message. The message was one of, okay, yeah, we do have problems, but one of the things that we struggle with as well is our mental health. Within the Power Platform, we are also adhered, and we talk a lot about mental health, but they are actually doing stuff about it. So they support young Black adults between the ages of 17 and 27 with their mental health, with their career progression, and just basically in general. So we teamed up with them. In the US, we teamed up with Black Lives Matter, but this quiz actually it was a global quiz, so it was Australia, US, UK, Africa, Peru, and Canada. Okay, we raised over $7,000 for these charities, and then we wanted to take it further. So with Black Minds Matter, we then came up with the concept of the school. So what we did was, this is the guidance bit of it now. So where we're actually now providing guidance through training and mentorship to the students of Black Minds Matter. And that's pretty much what we did in the month of August. We basically grouped together a bunch of mentors, and I'll come to this in a second. We grouped together mentors and trainers, and we trained them on the Power Platform and also different skills that will enable them to succeed within a Microsoft partner world effectively. The next thing that I want to do as part of the Power Platform School is really to provide opportunities, and this is actually where we're at now, basically identifying apprenticeship schemes, entry-level positions that people can now enter, and making it visible to people that might not even know that they exist, so they actually have the opportunity to actually join in. It's not that we want to have a shortcut. We just want to know that these opportunities are there, so we can actually take advantage of them. Okay, and then through that, we want to then increase the visibility of Black techs working within the Microsoft Partner Network. So then it inspires other people and let them know that this is a viable career path, because it's not really known, if that makes sense. So pretty much is what I said. We had the Microsoft 365 quiz. We finished the Power Platform School. Right now, we're working with different partners to identify entry-level positions, apprenticeship opportunities that we can then roll people into. And then we're also providing ongoing mentorship. So with this, we did have 9 participants in the first round. We had 8 mentors, 7 trainers, and it was for 1 month. Okay, so we had a really rough schedule in terms of, we really jam-packed the knowledge into this 1 month. We did all the in a days, starting with app in a day, Power Automate in a day, Power Virtual Agent and Dashboard in a day. And this was all done through the assistance of the community. So we had a lot of people who were willing to jump in and actually do these in-a-day sessions, some in their actual working hours, so really thanks to them. But also we had the more essential skills where we talked about change management, product methodologies, Power Platform adoption framework, and also it's not on here, but it should be. Alice Mulligan did a session on negotiating and career management. So we also did that as well. And then on top of that, of course, throughout each week, we have mentors as well that are just making sure that everyone's okay and how can they get into tech or anything that might help them with their career progression or career goals. So I know I've run through that. I'll give you some time for questions, but what exactly is next? Now that we've finished the Power Platform School, and obviously at the end we had the hackathon where we basically allowed all the mentees to lead a team to kind of showcase their skills and put everything into use with the help of the community. We want to take this further and we want to do this again. So the next time that we're going to do this is February 2021, where we're going to have round 2 of this, where we're going to have more groups of 8 or 9 people. So that's actually going to be 2 in the UK, groups of 8 people. And also we're bringing in a US team as well. So we're actually going to be launching this in the US in February. So again, of course, we're then going to have another hackathon or 2, either February or March, because we don't want to clash with the Scottish Summit. So we're working out the hackathon for that. But we're still going to work on identifying apprenticeships. That's not going to go away. But I will ask you, though, if you're in the UK, if you do feel empowered by what we're doing, if you'd like to donate to www.blackmindsmatter.co.uk. Please make sure it's this URL, because there is another charity that goes by the name of Black Minds Matter, but they're not us. There's a different charity. So this is where we're working with, www.blackmindsmatter.co.uk. Cool. If you are interested in, joining us as a mentor, as a trainer, or if you know anyone that might be, able to take advantage of what we're doing, these are the details to get in touch with us. Emma Darcy and Beth Burrell in the US, and in the UK, myself, Trish Sinclair. That's my Twitter handle. Any questions?
I don't know if it's questions or just amazing. Like this is this is community at its best, right? To take people and be able to mentor them to something new that they're not used to, or they haven't thought there was a window to jump in or a door to open to walk through that. And I applaud you so much. I remember I started this way. Someone took me under their wing and I got mentored and I did this and followed the rules, and I was teachable. And this is amazing. I don't know what more to say about that. I'm so happy to see this.
There are 2 slides that are missing. There are slides that actually show the actual mentors and the trainers, because there's a lot of people that they're not visible, but there are a lot of people that actually are working behind the scenes just to get us to where we are now. I mean, with 8 mentees, each mentee has a mentor, so that's like 8 different people, and then all the training, and then the setup, then the hack. It obviously takes a whole village. So yeah, I mean, like, we all kind of came together, and I'm really, to be honest, I don't have anything to say. I mean, I'm just amazed that we have the community that we do. That when I came up with, oh, this will be a great idea, everyone just jumped and said, yes, that would be a good idea, and we're going to do that. Yeah. I think it's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Jeez. So unless anyone has any questions, I think that this may be a really good time to kind of segue into the demo.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did we want to ask Chris to? Was Chris going to cover something, or was it after?
Yeah, I can give you guys a quick run through of how this thing fits together, like a 5-minute run through, and then let Shania show off her amazing skills.
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Go.
Alrighty. Don't worry, I'm not going to take long. So I just want to give a shout out to Trisha and everyone that participated in this. This was a hell of an event, and it was not easy to do it virtually, right? But this all stemmed from a lot of the stuff we did from the Hack for Good movement with Will and Kyle and the TDG folk, and a lot of you on the call have been involved. So thanks for all the support and everything over the last few years. A couple of things that were really interesting was that just with the hackathon, we first of all discovered that we needed a way to be able to run this virtually. Okay, we tried it via Teams. It worked to an extent on the MBAS hack, but we needed help. So we spoke to a bunch of folks from organizations like CloudThing, et cetera, and they actually have a platform called Remo, which we use to engage in the hack, which was really cool. Also, Will stuck in a lot of work around the Teams management piece. So if any of you ever want to set up a hack, I promise you now, don't underestimate the amount of work. There is a ton you have to do in the background. And there's a lot of planning to make sure that the right people are in the right place. But we also wanted to make sure that folks like Shania and the rest of her friends shone. The idea behind this was not to make it about the people that built the solution, but not built the solution, but were the experts in the product, but were the people that supported Shania and team around how to leverage this awesome technology. So we were really lucky to have some really great support from the BMM folk, as well as some really great Microsoft people. Judging, basically what actually happened was Trisha had somehow managed to get a room socially distanced and all of that jazz where people were running around going crazy and doing great stuff. So the vibe was there, and then we had the online crowd. So it was the first ever hybrid hack that we had done. And yeah, we had the team presenting. Shania ran most of the presentation, which was awesome to see. We had drop-ins in the room the whole time. So as they were working, we were dropping into each room and chatting to everyone and seeing like how they were doing and taking notes. It was bonkers, right? So what I suggest is if you also are looking for a framework to do this, please speak to Trisha, myself, and a number of the other folks on the call. We can work with you to work out the way the framework needs to fit together. I don't want to take away from the demo, but what I want to say is that when we dropped into Shania's team, right, there were a few things we picked up, and there was massive amounts of teamwork going on. So we first of all picked up that the team was really close, and I think that's part of the reason that they won. Also, the solution was quite cohesive, which was pretty important because these solutions are going to get used in the real world, right? So it's really awesome to say that Shania's team solution is going to sit on a person's phone somewhere, hopefully, and they'll be using that at some point, which is really great. But I'd really like to say a massive congratulations to your team, because I think that it was a tough hack. There were some awesome solutions, but you all came out on top. So congratulations and well done. And I'd like to hand over to Shania and team just to do the presentation on what they actually built. And yeah, so that you guys know that when we do these hacks, serious stuff comes out of it. So yeah, over to you guys.
So we called our app I Feel. Am I still on mute?
No, you're good. Can you, Shania, you want to just
and we see your screen as well.
Yeah, and tell everyone who you are.
So my name is Shania. I'm a part of the organization Black Minds Matter, and I have been for about 3 years. So the awesome thing about Black Minds Matter, I've never been a part of something like this. It's like a summer school, and it's just full of workshops, and we get great opportunities such as to work with Microsoft, and they just basically aid us with skills that we can obviously use in the future to just basically be assets to society, offering things like mentorship. And basically the beautiful thing about Black Minds Matter is that it's aimed at the BAME community from ages 16 to about 25. And then while being a part of Black Minds Matter, they basically find out like what you're studying, what you're doing, the things you're interested with, and then they will like pair you up with a mentor and help you like plan out your future step by step.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's my team, hi Mantika, Nick, and Simon. So the problem. So my thing was, have you ever had one of those days where you feel like downcast, unhappy, maybe you don't understand why, or maybe you do, and on top of that, you don't know what to do with yourself to get out of that off feeling, or who to talk to, or where to get advice from? Well, me too. Especially as a young person, balancing school and my social life can be a task, and a stressful one at that. And when I'm stressed out or feel anxious, after listening to music, I don't know what other outlets I might have. And I'm sure I'm not the only young person who feels this way. Also, as a young Black person, I've experienced a number of institutional challenges such as discrimination and labeling, which led to self-fulfilling prophecies which damaged my mental health unknowingly. But thankfully, alongside my awesome, amazing, spectacular team, we've managed to create and develop an app that not only gives young BAME children an outlet, tracks your behavioral patterns, but also recommends things to do to alleviate stress, as well as motivating you with positive affirmations in the form of push notifications in order to change and transform your mindset. Hand them over. So what the app does, to be able to review your emotional state and see any potential triggers to your mood and overall improve your mood over time. How it does this, it requires a method of logging their moods, stress levels, and emotional fitness, and it's aimed at BAME community of ages 16 to 23. And then over to Simon.
Okay, so the way that we tackled it was to really think about those user personas. So you've heard that it's targeted at the BAME community 16 to 23. We thought about not only the functionality that we'd need to provide within the app, but also the type of language and the type of visuals that we'd need to put in place to make that appealing as well. So we brain dumped a huge number of pieces of functionality and ideas on what we could put into an app. But with it only being a 4-hour hack, we worked out actually we need to scale that back and make it realistic so we can deliver a real product in that amount of time. So we scaled back the amount of functionality and then started wireframing what the user journey would be like, what the screens would look like, what the experience would be like, and designed it on this whiteboard before we went into actually starting to build that data model of the app, the flows, and the Power BI reports. So Hemantika is going to tell you a little bit more about the architectural piece and how we use the tools.
Hi, and as a part of a solution and from my last episode as well, so I would like to proudly say that I believe that Power Apps and the entire Power Platform can not only help us solve business problems, but it can also help us solve real life problems, because I believe that when this particular solution is not only used for like people of ages for 16 to 23, but also for people in business area, it can really help them. So our motive was to build a simple solution, to not use anything very fancy. So we wanted to, once our wireframe was built, we wanted to put all the bits into pieces and figure out how we can solve the actual problem. So we used very simple things, that is we used SharePoint as a data source, and we used the app that we made was made using Power Apps, and we also used Power BI, where we can see the visualization that shows us the happy, sad, and the worst day of our week, where we actually get a report card of how our mood has been throughout the week. And we have also used Power Automate, that will be triggering us notifications every day, or maybe it can also trigger us notifications that there is a particular mental health session that is going on, and we should attend that to feel lighter. So this is what we had done in a solution, and in future we had also planned to use Azure Cognitive Services so that it can click a picture and then it can actually understand what kind of mood we are in right now. So this is how we had used the entire Power Platform to build a solution. Next, we move to Nick.
Hey guys, so yeah, I'm going to take you through the app. Let me just share my screen and then I will give you a demo. Just let me know when that's coming through for everyone.
Yeah, that's come through.
Awesome. So this is our app, I Feel. We've got a bit of positive affirmation on the initial screen, just a reminder that you are amazing, you are brave, and you are strong. We had ideas where we could like interchange those with different notifications of affirmation to try and lift people's mood if they were particularly feeling down. But the app is primarily about the input that we put into it so that we can make sure that we're getting the right or actionable details out the back of it. So got a bit of nice to have information at the top, just looking at yesterday's mood, showing that it was all gravy. How was your mood today? So we had expectations to increase the app's functionality to include things like facial recognition to work out when you were sad or when you were happy and things like that. We just didn't have time to actually put that functionality in place, unfortunately. But one thing that we did put in place, as Simon mentioned, we were very focusing on the user base that the app was being built for. And I'm personally a great believer that you have to use a lot of the language and the terminology and make it so that people want to use the app, make it really engaging, especially for something of this nature. So we talked a few ideas, and we were talking about having like happy, sad faces, similar to what you do on any customer service response that you've ever done. However, it was just a bit old school. It was a little bit done to death, and we wanted to be a little bit different and do something quirky. So we came up with this slider, which has the ability to track. Yourself would just the slider to track your mood, if you were anxious, if you were stressed, and then you get a picture of. We've used Kanye West in this instance, of him looking chilled or looking anxious or looking stressed or pretty good or lit, which not sure if lit's a word used in the US much, but it means very good over in the UK. But a couple of other bits and pieces. Where are you? How are you doing? Just chilling. This is the real good stuff where you can actually set your how many factors are actually affecting your mood. So once these are set and you've submitted that, it'd be a case of looking back. Apologies, demo gods have done me over with the Power BI report. But we had a report on here that shows specific spikes in mood, different trends, that sort of stuff. And then we had a bit of sort of metadata, if you want to call it that, below: happiest day of the week, most anxious day of the week, noticed trends. So we were expecting to use a bit of AI to look at specific times when we're really stressed and make suggestions. So in this instance, you seem to be stressed at home about 7 o'clock at night when you're doing your homework. So a suggestion potentially built into the system could be: have you spoken about your teacher and the work that you've been given? Maybe you could use a little more support than what you're currently getting. So that's really the input and the resulted output of the app. We had some other bits and pieces in here that we thought were important to have in an app such as this. Useful links. So this is for links to things like Mind or the Black Lives Matter, TikTok mental health, etc. And we also had some emergency numbers that seem to have all changed to how's your mood today, which is fun. But you have to obviously understand that this was built in just a few hours. Appreciate we've got a few quirks in here. But again, having call, email functionality to be able to reach out for help. So these would be calling numbers such as Mind and Samaritans, etc. But yeah, that's pretty much the app as a whole. Does anybody have any questions?
So if you go ahead, you can unmute, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Cool. Nick, the question I always ask about this type of stuff is that when you're going through this process of building an app, how long did you spend planning what you were going to create?
See, there's an Einstein quote that I love on this that says, if you give me an hour to solve a problem, I'll spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes with the solution. So we thought it was very important to make sure that we were hitting the mark from the problem statement before we even looked at any screens or anything like that. So yeah, I'd say that was our focus.
Yeah, I think it worked out something like 2/3, 1/3, something like that, didn't it? We did spend a lot of time really nailing down what we wanted to build, how we were going to build it, why it was going to be valuable to people, and then spent that last third actually doing the build.
This is why I know I had an amazing team, because I had so many ideas in my head. I was throwing out ideas. It was like, okay, let's just take one step at a time. Let's do this systematically. Let's focus on this first, and then we can get onto that. Because I was so excited. I was like, okay, let's do this. So the planning stage was definitely imperative. I can say that.
It's funny you say that because I do the same thing when I'm building apps and I'm in the corporate world. I'm like, I can do this, I should do this, I should do this. And it's like, okay, you know what? Slow down, little buddy. There's other things that you need to think about. So you got just so yeah, don't feel
You can do
bad. It
everything,
happens to
right?
all of us.
But in trying to do everything, you'll get nothing achieved,
It's
essentially.
true. It's true.
But yes, Shania, is there another slide on the end, or was that just questions?
Yeah, there was. I just share my screen. Oh.
Going on here.
So cool.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Love
that's the end result. That's Shania winning.
Nice.
She won an iPad.
I did. I was meant to actually insert that into the presentation, that picture of that, of me collecting that iPad.
Oh.
Wow.
Amazing job. Oh, I don't know if we can, but like, can we clap? Would that be weird? Or can I just clap on my own?
Oh,
Yay!
Oh,
Thank you. I think that was awesome.
yeah. I do have a few questions. And this is, I mean, these are more back to the mentorship and things like that for Tricia. Is so as far as if you do, so you gave the names for who to contact for if you were interested in mentoring. Are there any other things that you guys need outside of those realms to kind of help you guys get to the help the movement get to the next level?
Well, I think what we're struggling with is identifying opportunities. We're being told opportunities are there, but where are they? They need to be more visible. So if you're working as a company and there are entry-level positions, share them, let everyone know, because it's hard enough wanting to get into tech, but you're not sure as to where you can go. Let's try and remove that barrier and make it really obvious as to where people can actually go to get those opportunities. You know, like if you're actually planning an event, and this is one thing I'm talking to event organizers about, just identify which sessions you could go to if you're a newcomer to tech would really also be helpful, because sometimes they'll go into a session and it will be like way over their head and it's really discouraging.
Yes.
So just a green, amber, red, it's just to show the levels. These are just different things that we're in the community. We know we can speak up, we can actually engage and influence what's happening. These are the different things that we as a group can just do if you're not able to train or mentor or provide that.
That's a great idea. Great idea. And I think that there's so many things that's coming around, and I think a lot of us we think of the 300 cool 400 200 conversations and never think about the 100s bringing people in. So that's definitely something to that we all can do to help the community. I have a question for the godfather of hackathons here, Chris, because there's been like tons of hackathons that I've seen, and every hackathon I've seen that's been international or local to your area is either you or Will have created it. What are some of the challenges that that you guys kind of face within creating hackathons at an international level, besides just the whole logistics of getting people into one place? Any suggestions?
You're on mute,
You're
Chris.
muted.
I was doing the Beetle hands thing, wasn't I? Yeah. So the thing is that what we've discovered is that there's like a load of moving parts in the background, and this only works if we work together as a team. So luckily, Kyle, Will, and I have been doing it, for a while, but we always try and rope new people in and new people get involved, which is fun. And often what we found is that, first of all, you know, we have to take time to teach. So that's the first thing we have to do. And it's not just about like, you know, teaching somebody how to hack. It's teaching us somebody how to build these things, because it's not easy. And then the next part is, you know, I'm a control freak, so I struggle to hand work off to people. And so that's one thing I've had to learn. The other thing from an organizational perspective is that, I promise you now, it sounds random, but in a in-person event, okay, you run less risk, believe it or not, of people dropping out, right? So we found that, right? So we hit 86% at our last in-person event hackathon, which was epic, of people actually attending. The hack for good that we ran at Embass, my gosh, the dropout. And then what we figured was that you have to have people to maintain that, to maintain the churn. So what we found is that the team lead strategy worked really well for us as well. So instead of, you know, me controlling everything or Will controlling everything, we'd have team leaders that took that on. So that was a massive lesson learned. And also, yeah, divvying up the work. You can't do it all on your own. Even if it's a tiny little hack of like 10 people, you need help. It's just insane. So yeah, and then on the time zone thing, this is a struggle. So I know we've got some of our pals from Corp on the call. So I think John still might be here, but there are going to be a lot more US hacks happening as well as Oz hacks. We will be firing up something in the future that Will and I can't necessarily release all the details about, but there will be something happening in the next 3 or 4 months that's going to be pretty awesome. And that's going to involve a global team again. So just keep your eyes peeled. It's a little bit NDA, mostly because we don't really know how we're going to do it, but yeah, stand by. And we need leadership from you guys, by the way.
I think we just been volunteering to do something.
You basically did, yeah. I mean, I basically got everyone's names on the call, and we're volunteering you to go and do something.
Right.
I've left hints, by the way. I have left hints with some people, so I can see Keith responding. Yeah, she knows. Cool. But yeah, that's it. If you guys have any actual questions around the detailed organization, just hit Will or I up, and we'll gladly feedback around some of the more tough things we found and some of the easier things.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So I'm kind of full, but I know I still got room inside the sponge, and we definitely have some good stuff coming here. So Krishna is going to give us a quick talk about InfoPath and handling errors inside of PowerAddicts. So Krishna, thank you for taking the time to come hang out with us to enlighten us. And so with that being said, I'm going to give you the floor.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. First thing first, a big round of applause for all the winners in the hackathon. It's not it's not that easy. It's a big thing, I know. So today I wanted to walk you through about a very regular issue which we see with the end user stating that, hey, we have so many InfoPath farms in our existing SharePoint environment, and we moved everything onto SharePoint Online. We know that InfoPath is no longer exists. So what is that a quick solution? So most of the times we see this issue. So I just wanted to give a view from my side that how quickly we could do and how we could say, like, no, don't worry, though the InfoPath is going away, we can achieve all the functionalities what we used to use in InfoPath. So before that, so this is quickly about me. I'm Krishna. I have 15 years of IT experience, a proven Power Apps and Power Platform lead, a Power App community super user, contributed more than 250 solutions in the community, a certified SharePoint architect, Office 365 and user group events speaker, and recently I have started my own YouTube channel and I'm a YouTuber as well today. Thank you for all your support, guys. I have been doing all this by looking at so many of your videos when I started my journey. So grateful to few people, Mr. Daniel Christian, April Dunham, Riza Durrani. I'm a huge fan of these three guys. I'm thankful to those three forever and ever. And the business case for this in this presentation is as I said, like most of the times we know that the users are very much habituated with InfoPath farms and they want to live with that same kind of experience though they come onto Power Apps. So before we implement that, I want few things to be as beforehand things. One is creating a Canvas app, a simple Canvas app. I don't want you to know any great technology in that, great knowledge in that, and using collections in Power Apps and using gallery. And when we see a quick view of the output, what I'm going to present is this is how my presentation, my end output will be like, for few information and followed by the farm. So what are we learnings? What are the learnings out of this presentation is implementing mini menu control. I'll tell you what exactly that means. Adding a row in a gallery dynamically above and below. This is the key part of this because in InfoPath, if you see, there is a feature which says that add row above, row below, and that is the key thing which impressed our wow factor to end user that I need not to worry where I have added or where I want to add. And the last but not least, save the text box content in a gallery as soon as move out of the text box. These are the three learnings we will see by end of this session. Before any further delay, I just wanted to walk you through with my application. Just let me know, guys, once you see my screen. I am just turning off and turning on my share. So you guys see my screen? OK, great. Thank you. So how this app would work is, so first name and last name. This is expense InfoPath in Power Apps. Expense sheets and all these time sheets are like very known business case for InfoPath farms. So I want to take the very same example when I'm replicating that InfoPath behavior in Power Apps. When I see that, usually what happens, the employee name followed by which department they are going. And when I say add new expense sheet, that is when my sheet will come. Say like, annual event is the event expense name and company annual event followed by the location is New York and my company, the cost of that event is 15,000. Now I have completed. This is where the keep functionality of InfoPath. Now I want to add one more row. There you go. I can add above row. It added above. See this? I have added above. And now, OK, let me add a text here. Say like Krishna. Now I want to add a row below. Without losing the previous context, I am adding a row above and row below. And if I just don't want this row, I can just say row, remove that group. This is the key functionality which is driving the entire InfoPath farm add new row functionality, because the rest of the functionalities or rest of the keys we can implement just like that, because all the controls what we have as part of InfoPath, be it a text box, be it a text area, be it a choice box, choice drop down and people picker, everything we have. What we don't have in Power App is this behavior. I wanted to implement that because this is one of the question I have seen as part of the community, and I have also noticed this kind of a functionality user is heavily looking in as part of Power Apps. And if you see the OK, at the end, I can as well just say like, if I don't want, then I just refresh, it will just clear out everything. When I go here again, I can add say like annual event. Exception is that, and I'll say like 15,000. I will say wow, say like sample, and say NY and say 12,000. So when I click on submit, what I'm doing is as part of this submit button, I'm just iterating through my gallery and I'm pushing back to my data source, whichever the data source it is. And when we see the implementation part, the key part, as I said, the menu. This is a menu which I am showing is mini menu. which is a simple group. I'm enabling and disabling that group. As part of the group, I have added 3 labels to add a group above, add a group below, and remove the group. So when I am adding a group, I am splitting my entire collection into 2 different collections. When we go back to the old school, the linked list edition and array edition, when we have to add an element in the array, we have to split the array into 2. One, the previous part of the array into one sample, one temporary array, and add the new value, and again add the rest of the array. Same functionality, same logic I'm doing. I'm just, if you see this collab collection repeated table 1 is like, first piece of my array, and repeated 2 is my second piece, and I'm adding the new value in the in between those 2, and then clearing those collections and creating the collection back again at the end. The same behavior I'm doing even for below also. But coming to remove, I am using remove if functionality, because I know that my serial number of that row. If you notice that I am adding the serial number, when I add above, the serial number of that should go 1. And when I add one row above, this should go down and that should come up. So I'm generating the serial number. That is my key when I'm removing the row as part of this collection. So same thing I have used as part of my remove button. What I did is I just take that remove if my serial number is the selected serial number. As soon as I click on that on button click, I'm getting that selected serial number, and then that I'm just adding the rest of the collection in collection back to my primary collection, and I'm clearing the collection, and I'm using the same collection back. So this is how this is how I have achieved this. My basic motto behind this app is to ensure that we are not losing by saying bye bye to InfoPath form. When though we lose the InfoPath form, we can achieve the key functionality of add new row above and below functionality smoothly in InfoPath. Sorry, in Power Apps. This is one thing. And coming to exceptions in Power App, I have noticed many times people are complaining, saying that, hey Krishna, I have a Power App, I'm submitting, I'm getting an exception. Most of the times people doesn't know, most of them don't even worry that I using forms. Some reason I'm against to forms, because when I use forms, I get 4 controls by default. For each and every element, I'm getting 4 controls. End of the day, Power Apps has a limitation of 500. When we run out of the 500 controls, boom. So I urge every developer, when they are estimating, to first understand the depth of the application. Yes, do not implement forms because it is easy to implement. It is gonna suck all our control limit by end of the application, maybe mid of the application also. And that time I cannot go back to the customer and saying like, sorry, I have implemented incorrectly. I have used forms and now running out of control count. I have to redesign and re-implement. So if the application is absolutely tight, simple and small, go with forms. If it is not so, please avoid forms. Form is a real roadblock on the control count. And in this forms, most of the times people submit on success and on failure. So they don't worry, they don't even know how to handle on submit fail behavior. So I urge, look at this properties of each and every form. There is something called on failure. Just handle this, all your failures or all your issues as part of this exception. But next exception I wanted to cover here is on button. I am doing a patch to data source. So in this case, what happens is there is no property where I can say on failure. What is the way, Krishna? The way is 2 things. again, most of the times I saw people using set var result and doing like this. Do not use set. Set is not needed here. Set is a global variable. The life of the variable is up to the app level. We don't need set here. Use update context and use a simple variable because we don't need this variable afterwards this. So when I use this variable as part of this patch, like a patch followed by patch preceded by this, the result, whether it is a success or a failure, which fall into that. And I can show it on a label. If it is a error, it will show it as an error. If it is a success, it will show as a success. So this way we can handle even a patch time or a submit form time. These are the two things any Power App maker will first implement when we are implementing an app. So don't forget these two exception handling mechanisms, because most of the times people think that there is no exception handling in Power Apps. Unfortunately, there is no exception handling as try-catch blocks because this is not a .NET model, but we have hacks or workarounds to ensure that my app is doing perfect and right on all the various functionalities. And another aspect is when you are using on submit button, and if you have any text box in input text in your form, do not bluntly use that input box as part of your patch. Always ensure that input box is blank or not, because few fields in your data source might be a mandatory and which will end up as a result. So always check is blank. So the three exceptions I wanted to cover today is one is a form exception, the other one is button with patch, another one is ensure that all your text controls are not blank when we are associating those text controls to mandatory fields. These are the three exceptions which we always end up when we are implementing apps. Hope these exceptions and the app is handy and helpful. Thank you for your patience. And when you want to connect with me, and this is my YouTube channel, and this is my contact information.
I don't see it.
I'm just sharing. Sorry about that. Again, I'm just turning off my screen between the apps. So this is my contact information. Please reach out to me if you see any of the questions as part of this the app and exceptions what I have explained now. Thank you for the opportunity for each and everybody. Thank you, Geeta, taking my request as soon as I reach out to you.
This is great. These are some really good tips. And I think a lot of times, a lot of us see it, but then it's like only when you do more work in it, and then you kind of, I mean, you have gone through the pain of going through this, right? Like it happened to you and you had to maybe roll back on some things, but it's good that you're sharing this. And I really want to point out, you submitted 250 plus solutions. That's a big achievement. It's not a small thing.
Thank you again. That did not happen only by my knowledge. Again, a huge shout out to the people who I followed continuously is three guys. I don't want to upset others, but these are the three guys I always follow. April, Daniel, and Reza Durrani. Thank you guys for making me up to that mark on my knowledge.
Yep. So one thing which people were kind of, when you talked about the 500 limit, I know that has been talked about a bit, and there are some solutions to it. One thing is definitely you insert like what do you recommend it, but the other thing is you use a gallery and basically kind of create an infinity form, which I know somebody shared the link to Clarissa's blog post on that. So that's another way. I mean, of course, it depends on how you want to take it further, but yeah, you can do that gallery stuff as well. So let's see. And yeah, one question was around, I think Anton asked it, the label convention, the naming convention for everything, every control. Do you follow some convention, and what's that based on?
I follow some convention, but that is old school knowledge. Maybe you guys can correct me because I'm heart and soul as a developer. So when I'm implementing, when I'm using a control as a text box control, I always precede txt followed by whatever the way you want. If it is a label, LBL followed by that. If it is a drop down list, DL or DDL, whatever is convenient to you.
Yeah.
Because by looking at that control, I should know what is that control. So it is always handy. Never ever, if it is a gallery, say gal followed by some name. So this is the way I prefer, or I suggest you guys to follow, because let's not give a bad expression or a bad experience to the person who sit next to you on the same chair, saying like,
Yeah.
none of the controls were there. Everything is label 1, label 2, label 3. So this is my small request. Even the basic reason why I wanted to cover the exceptions is today in my team, they don't know like how to handle exceptions, and they were climbing back to me saying like, where are the exception handling, Krishna? No, come on, calm down. There are.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are. Come on, calm down. I know you recently adopted to the family. Okay, let me show you. These are all the best ways to
Yeah.
ensure that my app is not showing error messages on the
Yep.
runtime. On the runtime.
And I think the other thing, the benefit of using that naming convention is if you have to search for like a text input or a label, you just can type in LBL or text input and you'll get all your text input boxes or labels. So
Yeah.
otherwise it's not that easy to find what you want to change, right? So yeah, that helps as well. So
One
yeah,
other
thanks.
One other thing I wanted to cover is most of the times I have seen that the classic example. The classic example is when I wanted to show the user as part of a gallery with two-way. One is date of birth of the employee and search of email ID. I have noticed that people are using the same code block as part of date on change, as well as, I'm sorry about that. Date on change as well as the text box search. It is a code repetition. My simple recommendation is do not do. There is a blog I have written using user defined functions in Power Apps. So most of the functions, we know that a repeated code block when we want to use it, that is when we go on to that. So having said that, I have created a blog I have published in Power Apps community. Probably I'll share that here.
Yeah, you can share the
Using
link.
that, using that, we can avoid a repeated code block, and code maintainability is also very handy. I need not to worry about go onto the date change one time and change text box on change one time. So that is another thing I wanted to request all the Power App makers and MVPs like you, just promote that, because that is gonna make app as more performant and more easy to maintain down the line.
Yeah, and that's a great tip. So if you can paste that blog post link, that would be helpful for
Definitely.
others.
Sure.
So yeah, Anton, go ahead, and I guess we are almost around 1 hour. I know you have to drop as well, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I guess we're at that 1 o'clock number, right? But yeah, I think this was amazing. So thank the hackathon winners, amazing. Trisha, amazing work that you're doing over there. I salute you. I salute all of you guys. Because the one thing that we want to do is not just be here to build apps and just kind of show all that we do, but it's more of the human interaction that we do to help further people. There's no other time in the world right now where people are losing jobs and need to have retooling and to learn something completely new. And the service that you were providing, my heart goes out because it sits very close to me. Krishna, killing it. I'm excited. I can't wait to get to the vlog, check you out, and just make sure that I'm following you. So you have a new fan, so I'll be following you, man, and checking in. But so we're at the end. I mean, if you we recorded this It'll be available on the Power Addicts channel. If there's anything else that you guys want, or if you want to see some of the other episodes that we recorded, they are available there. But with that, I think I'm gonna say we're gonna get ready to stop the recording. And if you need to, this chat will always be there. So if you want to drop in, chat, you want to talk to a friend, you got us right there. All right, so I think that is all. Thank you all for joining us again, and catch you next month with some great Power Addicts.
See you.
See ya.